Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Sue. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys how I created this very cool page where user can enter zip code. Let's just do a random one. Then click check. It's going to populate the latitude and the longitude of that zip code. Not only that, we have a map that will display that area. Let's test another one. I don't know where this is going to direct us, but guess what? If we click the check, we'll know, okay, it's the zip code for Washington. So it looks very cool, doesn't it? If you are interested in how I do that, well, the base idea behind it is I used a SOAP connector that allowing us to send a request, which is the zip code, to an external source and retrieve info from that outside website. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. Just like how we create our REST connector, first we are already in the Dev Studio and then click the configure. Under the integration, you will see connectors. So today we're gonna create a SOAP connector. Now use this URL and I will put it under the description box. Okay, so now you see you have service name, port name, and endpoint URL. You don't have to worry about any of that. But here it's asking you to select operation name. What is this? Like, if you have no idea what it is, let's go ahead, open that URL we just put there. So you'll see a lot of code. It looks kind of confusing and complicated, but to be honest, it's not too bad. Basically just saying what's included in this XML file. And over here, you will see a description of each operation. Like I think operation is like a function. And so this website provides this how many function for us to select from. And if you read the description, you can select the one that you wanted to use. But today, we're going to simplify everything and choose the one that's the easiest. So I'm gonna select this one, lat long list zip code. What this one does is that it allows user to give a zip code and it will return a latitude and a longitude of that zip code. Okay, now let's go to next. Okay, so now we're on the review stage. It's asking for the name, parent class, everything. Oh, let me just call it lat one SOAP. Okay, and the parent class, depending on which instance you opened, this could be different. Just make sure it's consistent, you know, later on you're going to use this parent class. So right now I think this looks good. Let me just change the identifier, SOAP. Okay, we don't want to branch it. It is definitely under HR apps. That's my main app. And do we want to create a new one? You can create a new rule set or you can choose the existing one. But I'm gonna choose the existing one and put it under the integration. And let's just stick with the 010101. So this part can be a little bit confusing if you're new to PEGA, because you know we select a class, we select a rule set, different version, this and that. But the really thing you have to keep in mind is that remember where you put this rule under, like which rule set you put it under, and the class. Later on, when we create a new rule, we have to make sure they're under the same scope, right? Otherwise, it probably won't work. So that's that. It's really good for us to organize rule and make sure they're, you know, reachable when we're trying to call them. Now let's create. Okay, we're done configuring the SOAP connector. But the difference between the REST connector and the SOAP connector, to me, SOAP connector require one more step than REST connector. Let's take a look of our SOAP connector here. Okay, so this is the one we just created. PEGA has done all the pre-configuration, you know, this part for us. So don't worry about this part. Let's go to request. Okay, that looks right because we're going to give a zip code. It is string. We're mapping from the clipboard because once PEGA capture the customer or the user input is going to be pasted to the clipboard, and the property of that, the name of that property is called lat-long list zip code list. Okay, I didn't make this up. It's just automatically grabbed from this website. So we don't worry about this part. It is already done. But if you go to response, now this is the tricky part because it's like SOAP connector can work with XML file. We actually have to parse it and into something that PEGA or we understand. So we are going to use the XML Parse Rule and create one. Let's do parse long XML. Yeah, that looks good. Let's do create. All right, now we are here. This part, the root element name, oh boy, it gave me a really hard time when I first tried to configure this. So I found this really useful website, and again, I will paste a link in the description box so you can open it and take a look at this. So this is also, you know, part of the w3.org website. They made this really useful for us to see what's going on. And those functions were the one we saw before. And the function we select was the, where is it? Maybe this one? No, the one we saw, yep. So the function we use is this grid points for a zip code. And if you do like put a zip code here, I'm just gonna use one zip code to simplify it. And click submit. That's our input, right? And this is our output. It is under DWML, and this is the result that we're trying to grab from the server, right? And we see it also has a name called lat-long list. We're gonna use that later. So now we are going to put the DWML over here. That's our root element name. Oops. Well, this is another thing. Last time I tried using the capital, it didn't work. And so, hey, that looks good. It is the right class. That's exactly the right class where we put our SOAP connector. Create and open. All right. Now we are actually parsing the XML file. Let's take a look over here. Oh, oops. This example is easier than other function, and basically it's just the lat long list right under the DWML, and we're trying to create a structure looks exactly like this so that PEGA knows how to parse this file, right? How do we do that? Well, we're going to click this DWML and add an element. So you see, this is a tree structure, and this new element we are going to call it, what was the name? Lat long list. Okay, make sure it's exactly the same. All right, and under the property, press the down arrow. You'll see there are two properties, one's for user input and one's for the result. Now, how do we know which one is the return value? If you don't remember, you can go back to your connector, and under request, you will see this is the user input property name. The list is the input. I would assume the out is the output. So let's do that one. Click OK and save. Alrighty, we're done parsing XML file. Now when you come back to your SOAP connector, don't forget to come back to the map to key and press the down arrow again. You'll see the one we just created. And save it. Okay. Now we can say our connector, our SOAP connector is officially done. So what's next? Well, we have our connector ready, but how do we call it? How do we invoke it? Like, it is here, but if we don't draw the connection to the SOAP connector, PEGA don't know when should we run it. We talked about this before. There are two ways to invoke a connector. One is through activity, another way is to use data page. Today we're going to use data page. So we will have to create a data page, but again, make sure it's under the right class. So mine's under PEGA HR int. Okay, yep. And now we're going to right click it, data model, data page. Let's see, retrieve lat long data page. Okay, the right class, the right rule set, create and open. All right. Under data sources, you see the source is connector. The type is SOAP. And the name is this one. Now we need a request data transform because even though we are using this connector, but the connector doesn't know what's our user input. So and the parameters is the user input, right? We're gonna call it zip code. Okay, make sure there's no space in between because if I leave a space here later on, you won't let me do it. Let's put it yes and string. Go back to our definition. The target would be the target would be the lat long code list. Okay. This one, equal to our parameter. Okay, so you see we have a space here. If I try to save it, PEGA does not like it. So let me delete that space. and save it. All right, now we have the data transform to copy the user, input the zip code into our data page, right? Actually, I may have to set a parameter here as well. Okay, so let's do that. Zip code, make it required, and under parameter. Okay, let's save it. All right, so now you have this data page that connected to our SOAP connector. We are going to run it and test it out. Here we go. You see, we successfully retrieved the latitude and the longitude by using the SOAP connector. It is working. Okay, now we know that our data page is working. Our next step is to grab this data to put in our map. And I will show you in a minute. Time to go to our case types. Because I'm using the one that's provided by PEGA, so PEGA already has those really great case types. But for testing purpose, I'm just gonna select the random one. Add a stage because we don't want to worry about any of those. That's none of our business today. Create testing. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Just drag it over. Man, this thing is clunky. Okay, so let's configure our view. We want to have our user to enter a zip code, right? And it's a string. Okay, that looks good. And submit. Save and run, see what it looks like. Alrighty, so as you can see, user can enter a zip code, but we don't have a property for them to view the latitude and longitude. So let's go to Live UI and find this section. We can add another section within this section. Okay, so let's add embedded section. Why we need a embedded section? Because you can see our class here is under work class, and our data page is actually coming from another place, right? So this cannot be just drag and drop from a class to class, and that's why we want it to refer to that data page. And it's asking for the parameter. What are we trying to put there? It's our, which is our, zip code here. Oh, now it's asking for a section. We don't have a section yet, so let me go ahead and create one really quick. Let's do that. Create user interface section. Okay, let's now on UI. Honestly, I don't know if this makes sense. I feel like this should be under the rule set HR apps instead of the int, because it's just a user interface. It doesn't have to be under the integration rule set, right? Okay, let me close that and create a new one. On UI. Okay. Great. So what do we need? We need the property something out. Okay, this is the result out, and it should be read only. Okay, so now we have that ready. Submit. Okay, let's check it out. Save. Action refresh. Okay, I mean, well, looks like we got this working, but somehow it does not populate the result. Once again, we forgot the refresh strategy. Now this time, let's make it clear. I want a button, and every time I click the button, it's going to refresh it. Okay, check. So every time I click this button, you will need to refresh it for me. Refresh this whole section. Okay, that looks good. Save it again and refresh over here. Check. Oh my gosh, it's working. Hey, look at that. So our final step is to grab this value and put into our address, like in our map. What we can do is to, I mean, which section do I want it to? Let's do this one, because this one has the result. Go to, is that advanced? I need a map. Yep. Oh, you have to click it, drag and drop. Okay. All right, looking good. We are going to change it to the custom because we have to do the latitude and longitude. I believe this is called a PX address. Okay. Okay. See, it's asking for the latitude and longitude, and then now we can just do the result, like the out property. All right. All right. Save it again. Save it. The truth of moment. Oh my gosh, it looks like it's going to work. Oh, let's try a different one. Let's check. Okay, don't worry about that. Oh my gosh, look at that, it is working. Okay, so let's also do what? I used to go to school in Wisconsin, that's why I keep entering the zip code. Don't worry about this, we're just for developer purpose use only. Yes, this is the city I used to live, Appleton. Okay, cool. So thank you guys for watching this videos. I had a lot of fun doing these videos because for me it's really a refresh memory time. And also I hope you guys find this video helpful. I mean, it might not solve all of your problem with SOAP connector, but it definitely can provide you some insights, you know, by looking at the where is it? You know, looking at the XML file, figuring out the structure. And I mean, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'm sure people will see your comment and maybe we can help each other out. So anyway, that's today's video. Thank you guys again for watching this, and I will see you guys next time.